Coming up tonight on YCN News, St. Patrick's Day revelers receive a heads up for safe driving. Traveling by train could be getting easier between Vermont and Montreal. And New Hampshire Fish and Game is looking for input on managing the population of wild game. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening. It is Tuesday, March 17th. I'm Laura James. Welcome to YCN News. Well, state and local police will be alert today for people who turn St. Patrick's Day into something beyond wearing green clothing or going to Mass. Troopers in Vermont and New Hampshire will be alert for drivers operating under the influence of alcohol or drugs. Decreasing highway crashes and preventing injuries is the goal. Use a designated driver if you celebrate at a pub or restaurant tonight, the day when everyone's just a little bit Irish. Call a cab or call a friend to take you home. Also, you can call 911 if you notice another driver operating erratically. Meanwhile, it was the weather this morning on a stretch of road in Heartland, Vermont that caused a slip-off crash, that according to police. It's not quite spring yet, weather-wise or calendar-wise, and this morning, just before 9 a.m. on Heartland Hill Road, a Rhymes heating truck driven by a West Lebanon, New Hampshire man slid off the road due to black ice from the freezing rain. 36-year-old Patrick Smith was wearing a seatbelt when the propane and oil truck lost its grip on the icy road, say police. Smith was not injured. The truck's tank was damaged, along with minor damage to the driver's side. Now, speaking of transportation, it may be easier soon to get to Montreal from Vermont, now that there's a new agreement between the U.S. and Canada about train service. Vermont Senators Patrick Leahy and Bernie Sanders agree that it's good news. Passenger train service between the state and Montreal could be restored pending discussion. As part of the same talks between the two entities, it may become easier for citizens of Vermont and Canada to cross the border by car or air. Sanders says for train passengers, an agreement that would speed up border crossing could lead to a new customs and immigration facility at Montreal's Central Station. To speed up motorist border crossings, more Border Patrol officers may be hired, says Sanders. The agreement would require legislation to implement. Turning to New Hampshire news now, voters in Lebanon last week supported the city's public schools at the ballot. Lebanon joins the list of New Hampshire municipalities where voters approved on town meeting day local school budgets. Voters in the city's 3 wards approved the school district's $40.4 million budget. 498 votes in favor, 282 opposed, that according to the Valley News. When YCN News returns, we'll learn about Okemo Mountain's spring skiing plans.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Laura James. Well, New Hampshire is known for its outdoors lifestyle, and to that end, the State Fish and Game Department seeks the public's help in planning New Hampshire's next 10-year game management plan. How many moose, deer, bear, and wild turkeys does the state want to welcome into its fold between 2016 and 2025? That's where information culled from 5 public meetings across the state comes into play. The meetings begin at 6 p.m., including a meeting this Thursday in Room B of the Claremont Community Center on South Street. Other meetings will be held in Nashua, Greenland, Conway, and Lancaster. If you'd rather submit comments about how you believe the state should manage its wildlife population, send your comments to wildlife@wildlife.nh.gov, or you can mail a letter to the address you can see on the screen right now. You can send it to wildlife@wildlife.nh.gov or mail to Wildlife Division, NH, Fish and Game Department, 11 Hazen Drive, Concord, New Hampshire, 03301. Whether by email or postal mail, all comments must be received in Concord by April 6th. Well, enjoying the sporting life outdoors, weather in New Hampshire or Vermont continues year-round, and today we take a look at Vermont's Okemo Mountain Resort and its plans for the spring skiing season.
How you doing? We are here at Okemo Mountain Resort over in the Jackson-Gore base area. What we have here is the second year of our Sugar Days concert. It's a free concert, fun for everybody to come on down. It's just kind of a thank you to the people that come here all year to just offer them an afternoon of springtime fun and excitement and music. As you look around, you can see the challenges are weather. You know, you can do all the planning in the world, but you're held hostage by the weather. So Mother Nature in the winter, who brings us snow and cold, and we love it. Now she's continuing to do that, and we don't necessarily want it, but we're not going to say no. But it's great to have it outdoor because people know it's outside of the ski resort. They've been on the mountain all day, so they're dressed for it, they're ready to go.
Hey, I'm Brad Corrigan from Dispatch, playing here at Okemo.
Whoa, will you come and go one more time with me there? Oh,
Yeah, I went to college not too far from here, Middlebury College in Middlebury, Vermont. That's where Chad and Pete and I met. And yeah, I played up here at Okemo a couple years ago with Stefan Lassard of the Dave Matthews Band. He's got a side project called Yukon Cornelius. So we've had a lot of fun in the Northeast, and hopefully we'll be back again. Oh, sometime I do know the dates actually, August 6th to the 8th, I'm playing a festival in New Hampshire called Soul Fest.
so now just come home your ass, leave all your treasure behind. Your son's coming home with you to spend some time. Show him how a good king should be. Don't ever forget the day. Turn your back on him and me.
Playing outdoors, even when the weather is a little bit on the cold gray side, is 100 times more inspiring than playing in like a black, dark box in a basement. So a lot of clubs, they're fun and they're loud, but I mean, this is breathing good air and singing is really inspiring.
The wind be upon your back, and if the sun let it shine on your face, let the rain rip across your path, providing powder for all of your days. Whoa.
Thank you to all of you who are music fans, and those of you who are looking to make your music. Just play it everywhere you can, all the time, and play from your heart. Cheers.
Thank you to YCN's Dan Carbonero for producing this special segment. And for more information on Okemo Mountains events, you can go to okemo.com. Also, you can give a call if you'd like to 802-228-1600. And by the way, Okemo has two events coming up soon, including Saturday, March 28th's Hops on the Snow Festival, and another program includes community outreach. On Sunday, March 29th, Okemo Mountain Resort will host its Spring Cares and Shares food drive. Skiers or riders who donate at least 5 non-perishable food items will be rewarded with an entire day of skiing or riding for just $39 that same day. Now, we all know it's been a long winter, which skiers and snowboarders love. Even so, the food drive will allow Okemo's winter enthusiasts to give back to the local community. Black River Good Neighbor Services Executive Director Audrey Bridge says the food drive will help local residents. And when YCN News returns, River Valley Chronicles' Elizabeth Gerazio will be by. She sat down with Hanover Town Manager Julia Griffin. They had a chat about finding affordable housing in the Upper Valley. That interview is coming up.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. Now, you know the old saying, wait a minute and it'll change. That absolutely applied to the weather on this St. Patrick's Day. Let's check that forecast now and see what's going on. Mike?
Thanks, Laura. It was a sloppy start to the day, but temperatures warmed up enough to melt anything that may have stuck to the ground this morning. Tonight, skies will become partly cloudy with a low of 15 degrees, though 10 to 15 mile per hour winds and gusts of up to 30 miles per hour could make it feel much colder at times. Tomorrow will bring mostly sunny skies, but highs won't exceed more than 28 degrees. Temperatures will drop down to about 12 tomorrow evening with 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. Thursday will be the sunniest day of the week with a high of 31 and low of 16 degrees. Now let's take a look at some unique events happening in the community. The Upper Valley Cinderella Project will continue Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 241 South Main Street in White River Junction, Vermont. High school girls can choose from gently used gowns, shoes, and accessories to use for the upcoming prom season. Donations are accepted. A Welcome to Medicare workshop will be held tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the conference room of the new Sullivan County Service Link Resource Center on Elm Street in Claremont. There is no cost to attend, though registration is required. Call 603-542-5177 to register. The Charlestown Democratic Party caucus will be held tomorrow at 6 p.m. in the community room of the Silsby Library on Main Street. All registered Democrats in Charlestown are eligible to vote in the caucus. It's still winter for one local basketball team as the Lebanon boys will make the trip to Durham, New Hampshire tomorrow to take part in the Division II semifinals at UNH. So in anticipation of the team's third straight trip to the Final Four, we thought we'd take a closer look into tomorrow's matchup. The Lebanon boys basketball team is no stranger to the Final Four, especially of late. But with 17 years separating the program from its last title, the Raiders have more motivation than ever heading into their third straight semifinal tomorrow night at the University of New Hampshire. In order to advance to Saturday's Division II championship for the first time since 1998, though, fourth-ranked Lebanon will need to oust a top-seeded Portsmouth team that has just one stain on an otherwise perfect 19-1 record. The Raiders earned their ticket to UNH behind a pair of impressive tournament wins, including a 22-point win over number 13 Oyster River in the first round, and a 13-point victory over 5th-ranked Merrimack Valley in the quarterfinals. Sophomore guard KJ Maddie has led the way with a combined 45 points in 2 tournament games, followed closely by classmate Ryan Milliken with 32. The Clippers, on the other hand, earned its trip to the Final Four by virtue of a 46-point win over number 16 Conn Val in the first round, and a 15-point victory over number 8 Hanover in the quarterfinals. Portsmouth is led by big man Cody Graham, who averaged just over 14 points per game over the regular season. I got a chance to speak with Austin Whaley after his team's win in the quarterfinals, and the junior told me he and his teammates are far from satisfied with solely getting to the Final Four.
I've been to the Final Four every single year I've been here. I'm really grateful, but nobody remembers a team that makes it to the Final Four, so we got to make it the championship. I'm not satisfied. I'm really grateful, but I'm not satisfied until we get to that championship.
I also got the chance to ask Lebanon coach Keith Maddie about the prospect of facing a top-ranked Portsmouth team that heads into tomorrow's semifinal with just one loss on its record.
Well, they're really good. They have good guard play. They have a good big kid. I think they're really well coached. Obviously they're 17-1, and it'll be a challenge. There's no question about it. I mean, I'll have a better sense of how they'll be after I get home and watch film, but I wasn't going to allow myself to think ahead. So, yeah, Portsmouth's very good. That I know for certain.
Tomorrow's matchup will begin at 7:30 p.m. after the conclusion of the night's first semifinal between 3rd-seeded Bishop Brady and 10th-ranked Goffstown. Now, Laura, back to you.
Thanks so much, Mike. When YCN News returns, we bring you the next installment of an encore interview between former U.S. Ambassador Peter Galbraith and YCN's Capital Connections' John O'Connor. He has that interview coming up.
The YCN News continues in a moment.